Welcome back to Private Sessions. Now, although Kevin and Michael Bacon have already been playing music together since childhood, they formed the Bacon Brothers in 1994 and released their first album almost 12 years ago. Now, they recently released their sixth album entitled New Year's Day, which has been getting a great response from both critics and music lovers alike, and myself. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here, Lynn.
It's great to have you guys here. Now, we're going to talk all about music, New Year's Day, and we're going to hear some great music. But first, we have a little surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
From a fellow, well, let's just say a fan who's been following your music. Take a look.
Hey, Kevin and Michael, it's Kiefer. I just wanted to take a moment to just congratulate you on doing A&E's Private Sessions. I've been following your music for the last few years, and I'm so proud of both of you. A&E has asked me to ask you one question, and I was talking to Kira a little while ago, and she said that I was asking about your guys' tour, and she was telling me how much fun you guys were having on the bus. And rock and roll is full of so many storied elements of brothers that have been in fights, whether it was the Allman Brothers or the Black Crowes or Oasis. And I was wondering if the rigors of touring actually brought you guys to a kind of a point of friction at any given moment, and how you guys, if that happened, how you dealt with it.
It was like he was right here. That was crazy. That's great. Well, thanks, Keith. That was nice to hear from him. Yeah, well, we have one thing that happened recently. We got into we were doing a set with a break in the middle.
Okay.
And we got into a big, kind of fight about who knows what. But the problem was in the middle of the show. And Mike, at the beginning of the second half of the show, when we do the set, goes out, and it's this like super sensitive kind of moment where he's playing the cello.
He's like rolling his eyes at you.
He's playing the cello all by himself.
Okay.
Out on stage.
Pin drop silence.
Yeah, pin drop silence, and then the band slowly, kind of fades, and we pick up the instruments, and we start to play.
Right.
And he was like livid. He was like, about to burst, just a smoke coming out of his ears. And as we walked out from the side of the stage, we looked at him, and the drummer looked over and said, "Looks like he's gonna saw his cello in half."
The album's fantastic, New Year's Day. You both have very diverse backgrounds as far as what you like musically, taste-wise. You're more on the folk end of things, and you grew up more inspired by rock bands. Is that?
I think that's
fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And so does that kind of explain why maybe the album is so diverse with so many different musical directions? I mean, I even heard stuff that sounded like Beach Boys in there.
In fact, New Year's Day, there's a breakdown part, which I wrote, I think I wrote it 3 times, going farther and farther away from the Beach Boys until we broke it down to this very, very simple kind of a thing. But I did get to keep in my little Beach Boy.
I love it.
Ooh
I picked
sound
right
thing.
up on it.
But I think that's the way the band has always been, is we've always let the songs dictate the arrangements rather than saying, well, this is our sound, now the songs will fit into that.
So the Bacon Brothers are known for their many different styles. Would you say that you were kind of taking a slight departure with New Year's Day? It sounds a lot more rock-filled. It's really great.
Yeah, there are a couple things that's pretty rocking, and Wildlife is pretty rocking.
And the title track for the album, New Year's Day, is, I think, about the Mummers Parade.
Yeah.
But this is the first I've ever heard of it. And first, I also have to say, in the song, how you guys made a rock song that was cool and included the word glockenspiel. Right up my alley. I loved it.
Yeah, I couldn't resist rhyming mummer and bummer and summer.
It was good.
The Mummers, this is great parade that happens on New Year's Day in Philadelphia, which is where we grew up.
Right.
And it's been going on since the 1800s. It's kind of like Mardi Gras, It's huge costumes and feathers, and there's men dressed as women, and there's comedy, and there's bands that have glockenspiels in them, and banjos, and so I just wanted to write a song about a kid who had left Philadelphia and was dreaming of making it back to New Year's Day for the Mummers Parade.
All right, well, I want to go back to the early years for a moment, since a fellow musician heard that you were both going to be on the show, and he had a question for each one of you.
Okay.
Take a look.
Hey, Lynn Hoffman in Private Sessions. This is Black Thought from The Roots. Hey, Kevin, what was the deal with the bit you and my friend Larry Gold would do with his cello case in Rittenhouse Square? Hey, Michael, are you still friends with Miss Hagman? the music teacher from Masterman.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is amazing. Larry Gold was really still my best friend. We're both cellists, and when I was about 8, I was probably the best cellist in Philadelphia public school system, and because you're ranked by the desks. And as we got older, I started going down, and he started going up, and then by the time we were in high school, I was in the last desk, and he was in the first desk. And Larry's worked with the Roots for years and has a recording studio down there, and we're still great friends. He got me into the music business in 1968, and we had a group called Good News, and we signed with Columbia, and he really did get me on the road, which I'm still on.
Did you sit
That's
out
right.
in Rittenhouse Square with the cello open and try to get money?
What did you do?
That was a question for you.
I don't remember.
Can we get him back on?
Did you hide in the cello case and fall out dead or something?
Maybe. Those are all possibilities.
Michael, you've obviously been a prolific composer and writer for film and television, award-winning as well. What made you decide, and obviously, as you said before, you signed with Columbia straight out of school and went on tour as a rock star. What made you decide to parlay all of that into the Bacon Brothers and working with your brother, Kevin?
Well, I really had, once my son was born 26 years ago, I was in the middle of, being a sensitive confessional writer, singer-songwriter, and the disco era had hit, and I just wasn't getting any work. And my wife luckily had a teaching job. We were squeaking by, but I realized at that point I had to get out of being a singer-songwriter, and that's when I moved into film scoring and television scoring, which worked out really well. We moved to New York, and I got work and still do. But when Kevin and I put the band together 14 years ago, that was a dream that I had let go. There are people, you have to let things go sometimes, because reality hits. And so now I have the compositional part of my world, which I love, and I also have the singer-songwriter out, quote-unquote rock star. I mean, we're trying, but I don't think we're quite there. But it's I'm a really lucky person to have both of those things.
Sure. We have another musician from the city of brotherly love who just had to get in a question
I
here.
love this. That's
I'm
great.
glad you like it.
This is Questlove, the drummer of Philadelphia's own The Roots. Okay, my question is to Michael. As a fellow movie scorer, I know that it's a very hard, elite route to get to. I'd like to know, how did you get started into scoring movies?
I think a lot of it has to do with luck. I can trace back every job that I'm doing this year to a job I got 20 years ago, which was my first job in New York. So it's hard to get the first job, but once you get it, everybody in film is freelance, and if you do a good job, they all go out to other jobs, and hopefully they bring you along. So I think, to me, that's the key, is to try to get your first job, and that can be done in a lot of different ways. Some people go down to NYU and put a note up saying, "I will score your film for free," and I don't think there's any other way to do it except to try to get a job and then just absolutely put everything you possibly can into the job, and that's the best investment in the future.
That's good advice. And now we're going to hear the title track off the Bacon Brothers' new release, New Year's Day.